Hey, what's going on, you beautiful people? Joe here, coming at you today with one more. Can't stop it. I've been working on this strategy for quite some time, and there's multiple videos out there for you. Miner farming at Town Hall 10 all day long. I mean, literally all day long is beautiful loot, whether you're going after gold or dark elixir. Now, I wouldn't highly recommend using miners as a means to go after elixir, considering it is an elixir-based troop. It's completely defeats the purpose. So for the first couple of raids, we're going to be showing you content without heroes. Obviously, you saw the queen here. She did go down, and she did draw the clan castle troops. So there is wizards in this clan castle and miners. So we set the funnel up in north using the miners. Only a handful there. And the deeper we get into this video, the more topics we're going to discuss. How to apply a queen walk to it. How to keep the miners together. We're even going to show a fail and what actually goes wrong and the reason why. But the fact of the matter is, miners at Town Hall 10 in bulk, grouped up together, are just simply overpowering, especially on the Town Hall 9 bases. And when you're farming, let's be realistic, who is actually concerned about attacking max level bases? I'm certainly not. I'm going after the dark elixir here, and that's the goal. On this base here, we had about 2,800 dark elixir available. I am currently working on upgrading my Barbarian King on the SargTrain account from level 35 to level 36. And also in the same time, we're collecting gold and upgrading some defenses in the process, if not doing walls. So as you notice here, the miners were able to travel throughout this base, throughout the core of the base, due to the funneling. Once the miners get focused on targets, they're going to continue to proceed. But there are some vulnerabilities with the miners. The longer they are on top of the ground, the more vulnerable they are to the defenses. That means getting caught up on skeleton spells or skeleton traps, getting caught up on the giants that are in the builders' huts currently, getting caught up on a barbarian king or an archer queen, and keeping themselves above ground and vulnerable. That's where you need the heal spells, and that's also where you can apply a rage spell to push them through that heavy, dense area of defenses wherever it's located. We'll get into some scenarios within this video as this final video, or this final replay here, finishes up, as we have our miners traveling across the map and assisting what's left of our miners to overpower the Town Hall 9 defenses here and finish up to get that final 8,000 gold that is available on the base. We also have multiple replays in this video, so stick around, guys. There might be something that could assist you as you proceed in upgrading your heroes. So hit easy bases. That's pretty much a given fact. Don't go after max level Town Hall 10s. You can go after Town Hall 10s that have Inferno Towers. Single target Inferno Tower setting is preferred. However, you can still overpower the lower level 1, level 2 Inferno Towers. In this case here, I dropped the Rage ahead of the miners. That way they power through the heavy hit point structures in the Dark Elixir storage, the gold storage. Something, the structures that are going to keep them above ground for really long periods of time. Leading my heal spells, placing the heal spells ahead of the miners, getting them in the areas that are going to hold them up for long periods of time. In the core of this base, they got held up on the Town Hall, and now as they transverse or shift their attention down towards the south, we'll drop a heal spell in the location where the Archer Queen is, due to the fact that once the Archer Queen targets the miners, they're going to redirect or retarget and go after that Archer Queen, and then they're going to get caught up in between some defenses. But regardless, lower weighted base here, the miners are able to mostly stick together and take on the defenses, finishing up the base for a massive amount of loot. I'm down in Crystal League, guys. I hang out in Crystal League all the time. You will move up in trophies fast due to the fact that you're going to win if you have the level 3 miners. Level 2 and level 1s, I'm not exactly positive. I upgraded them as quickly as I possibly could, and have continued to farm along the way as these miners finish up this base, going after that final gold mine and finishing up on that final camp. Again, another 100%. You'll do this a lot, so you may or may not have to jump up and down in trophies in order to stay in Crystal League. So, no heroes. This is the idea here. Again, we have clan castle troops going in on our miners. I dumped all the miners there on purpose. That way, in bulk, with the assistance of a poison and a rage spell, that massive amount of miners can power through the clan castle troops and not die. The longer they stay on top of the ground, the longer they are vulnerable to defenses. So you got to get heal spells down, lead the heal spells, placing them ahead of the miners. That way the miners are able to heal up while they're underground, popping back up above ground, getting back down, and staying within the heal for an extended period of time. That way they're able to continue throughout the base. In the core of this base, we have a lot of heavy hit point structures in the town hall, in the gold storages, in the elixir storages, and it's also interwoven with some Teslas there that are able to chew and tear up our miners. So dropping a heal there to get the health back up on our miners. Miners get distracted on that Archer Queen. They're able to get in on the Archer Queen as well as that Expo, and the final heal spell is dropped for them. So again, a heavy elixir-based army here, but I'm telling you, the rewards here for Dark Elixir is glorious. I mean, you could put a Barbarian King down for 7 days and farm with miners and probably have enough Dark Elixir to drop that King or Queen again within 3 to 4 days without any gems whatsoever. So that's really the point to be taken from this video, and that's what I've been consistently doing. Failed attack. So here we go. There is one thing about miners that if you don't keep them together, they will tend to get distracted and get thinned out, meaning one miner by itself is completely useless. They don't deal a lot of damage per second by themselves. So the thinner they get in groups, the weaker they get. But when they're all grouped up together, they tend to do very, very well and can be considered excessively overpowered. So miners in the core here, they are grouped up. I was trying to set the funnel on both sides here. That was the intent here, was to try to direct the group of miners' attention towards the Inferno Towers here. And what they actually do is get distracted on some structures over here in the south, and they will go around the Inferno Tower and the Dark Elixir. So it ends up being a fail and a little bit of a learning lesson here in the sense of keep your miners together. That's where applying an Archer Queen Walk will help you out in this fashion, or paying attention to where you deploy your miners and sticking with the group when it comes to using your spells, your heal spells, and your rage spells. So miners are going to complete the end of this raid over in the far western corner and die due to the lack of heal spells. All right, so use your queen for big gains. My Archer Queen on the SargTrain account is now level 40. I've been grinding on her for months now, and we were able to get her finished. And so why not use the Archer Queen? Now, I've showed you in the previous replays you don't need a queen to do it. Just use 48 miners and the amount of spells. But you can shift your composition with the application of a queen walk by adding an additional rage for her specifically. 1 rage is for her to carry her through the walk, and then 3 heal spells and 1 rage for the miners. Now, you don't necessarily need to have a rage spell for your miners, but if they get into an area where they're tied up on high hit point structures like the gold storages, elixir storages, and dark elixir storage, or traps, you need to have a rage there to boost their damage up and speed them through the raid. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to have this queen walk this entire south flank of this base, opening it up on both sides. So if you pay attention to what's up in the north there by my name, SargTrain, there's no structures there that are going to distract my miners. So the queen walk here is actually a really long, drawn-out queen walk, and I'm purposely doing this that way I can send all of my miners to the core of this base that houses the Inferno Towers, all of the storages, the Dark Elixir storage, a Wizard Tower, and some air defenses and an Expo or so. So again, queen walk, very long and drawn out, paying attention to her health the entire time. If you guys are not versed or skilled in queen walking, do not attempt this until you've practiced it, or you're going to fail more than likely. And if you don't know how to direct her, that's also something to take into consideration. So as she walks around the south side, southern corner of this base, she's going to work her way up. I use 1 miner to target that Tesla. Once I have identified the fact that they are going to hit the core of this base, I drop all of my miners, dropping a heal spell as they get into the kill zone, and a rage to power them through these heavy hit point structures in the gold storages, elixir storages, and so on and so forth. They're going to power through this entire core and just chew it to shreds like it's nothing. Queen is off to the flank, working her way up the south side, keeping our miners in the base. They're going to take out all of the storages here and finish off the Inferno Tower as well as the other Tesla that's in the core of this base. We will have one heal spell on the opposite side of the base. And I actually do a bad thing here in the sense of letting my queen die. When you're doing the queen walk or the super queen or whatever you want to call it, guys, try not to let her die. That is something that will delay you in getting into the next raid. You got to wait for her to recharge, get her rest back up, and get back available for the next raid. So that will hinder you in time if you do let her die like she just did. But at the same time, healers on the miners also are in great synchronization. All right, so lead your spells. We have a queen walk starting out here. The queen is going to work her way up to the north. So talking about leading your spells, when it comes to queen walking, you want to place your rage, and it really comes after multiple raids, a lot of experience when it comes to queen walking on where to place your rage. As the queen gets deeper into the base, you want to pay attention to what's ahead of her. In this case here, we got 2 archer towers and a dead expo. So it works out really well in the sense that we don't have to worry about using the rage right away. But when you drop the rage, you want to try to catch the back end of, the rage ring on your healers. That way they're healing the queen up, as well as catching the queen and leading her a little bit in that rage spell. That way she can get the effects of that rage for an extended period of time, as well as getting healed up. That's really the intent of the rage spell anyways. All right, so queen has moved through the expo, or the wizard tower there. She's moving into a denser location, about to run into a level 40 queen. So this is where I'm going to drop my rage spell. See how the back end of the ring is catching the healers, as well as leading the queen up there. And then I'm going to flank off to the most western side of this base, bringing the miners off to her immediate right-hand flank. And they're going to flank the entire south side of this base, while the queen is going to work around the eastern side of this base. So you don't have to tie the miners into her. She's doing fine on her own. And the miners can cover the south side of this base, especially due to time. Leading the rage spell, dropping the rage there for the miners to power through the dense area here, as well as leading a heal spell ahead of them into that town hall, trying to catch the back end of the miners, as well as giving them enough heal coverage as they get into the denser area or the heavier hit point structures here in that town hall and the elixir storage. So we do have one final heal spell, and we're going to drop it down in the most southern portion of this base, where there's some point defenses there that are going to hinder our miners for a little bit longer. Do a great job here, and this is actually yours truly doing it. So I got a little bit of an idea on what I'm doing here when it comes to leading my spells and where to place them to keep the miners alive to finish out the attack. So queen is finished up in the east or the west. No, that's the east, my bad. Over in the eastern corner, miners are going to finish up in the south, and we're going to take it into our final raid for this video. Miners in bulk are OP. All right, so again, lower weighted base, don't avoid these. Definitely take it on. I mean, look at the amount of loot that's on it. You got 604,000 gold, 607,000 elixir. So I start the queen walk down here in the south to pull the clan castle. That way the queen can take care of the clan castle and not the miners. You don't want to keep the miners above ground for extended periods of time. The queen is going to step off and take care of this expo, as well as that laboratory. And then she's going to turn around, redirect, retarget, and go towards that Inferno Tower. That's the intent here. And what I'm going to end up doing here is sending all of my miners in with the queen instead of off to her flank. Dropping the rage, that way she can speed up, get her damage up, get her attack up, and she's going to power through that level 1 Inferno Tower like it's nothing. And then I also was a little slow on getting my wall breakers down. I wanted to get some wall breakers down to open up the compartment and send the queen into the base. That way she could take on the air defenses and not lose healers in the process. I was a little slow on that myself. But we have some miners. Take note of the north up there. We got some miners that are off to the flank working on the gold mines up there as we send the massive bulk into this base. So the miners together, again, as long as they stay together, they are devastating, especially under rage. They're going to power through and just tear this base apart. The queen is down to about quarter health remaining. We will have to use her ability here, and we're just going to lead our heal spells. There's more miners than there is beams coming from the Inferno Tower. So granted, yes, I know that that a heal spell is negated by an Inferno Tower, but there's more miners than the 5 beams that are coming from an Inferno Tower. So as this raid finishes up, You cannot beat this. You cannot beat this at Town Hall 10. If you want to max your heroes, guys, you do not need your heroes. 48 miners will get the job done. If you have a higher level queen, use her until you put her down and then cycle back to the 48 miners. If not, Queen Walker, Queen Charger, whatever you want to call it, Super Queen, and get as much loot as you possibly can. Crystal League is where it's at all day long. Master League, Gold League, I have had zero issues with the lack of resources in Crystal League. So smash that like button, guys, and thanks for watching.